It started with something small. It always does. A missed call, a late reply, a message that sounded colder than it should have. Maya stared at her phone, rereading the last text from Daniel. Busy, talk later. That was it. No heart emoji. No I love you. Just distance. She sighed and placed the phone beside her, her chest feeling heavier than usual. Just a few months ago, they couldn't go an hour without talking. Now it felt like they were slowly becoming strangers, and that scared her more than she wanted to admit. Daniel wasn't cheating. He wasn't hiding anything, but he was tired. Work had been overwhelming, and the pressure of trying to build a future was weighing heavily on him. Every day felt like a race he was losing, and no matter how hard he tried, it never felt like enough. And without realizing it, he had started shutting Maya out. Not because he didn't love her, but because he didn't know how to carry everything at once. That night, Maya sat alone in her room, staring at the ceiling, lost in her thoughts. Maybe I'm asking for too much, she whispered to herself, but deep down she knew it wasn't too much. She didn't need gifts. She didn't need perfection. She just needed him to be present, to care in the little ways that mattered. The next day, they met at their usual spot, a quiet bench in the park where everything had once felt easy, where laughter came naturally and silence felt comfortable, not heavy. But this time, it wasn't. Silence sat between them. Heavy, uncomfortable, almost unfamiliar. Finally, Maya spoke. "Are we okay?" Daniel looked down at his hands, avoiding her eyes as if the answer was too hard to say out loud. "I don't know," he admitted. That answer hit harder than she expected. It felt like the ground beneath her had shifted. "I feel like I'm losing you," she said softly, her voice barely steady. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. "I'm just trying to keep everything together," he replied. "Work, life, us. But you're not keeping us together," Maya said, her voice breaking slightly. "You're pushing me away without even realizing it." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The wind rustled the trees around them, filling the silence they couldn't. Then Daniel finally looked at her. "I thought giving you space would make things easier," he said quietly. Maya shook her head, her eyes glistening. "I don't need space," she whispered. "I need you." Something shifted in that moment. Not a dramatic change, not a sudden fix, but an understanding, a quiet realization that both of them had been hurting in different ways. Daniel reached for her hand, something he hadn't done in weeks. "I didn't realize I was hurting you," he said, his voice softer now. Maya squeezed his hand gently. "And I didn't realize how much pressure you were under," she replied. They both had been fighting battles, just not together, and that had been their biggest mistake. That day, they made a simple decision, not to be perfect, not to have everything figured out, but to communicate, to stop assuming, to start listening, to speak even when it was uncomfortable, to choose each other, even on the hard days. Weeks passed. Things didn't magically become perfect. There were still arguments, still misunderstandings, still moments where it felt like they might fall apart again. But now, there was effort. There were late-night talks where they shared everything they had been holding in, random check-ins during the day, small "I miss you" messages that slowly brought back what they had lost. Little by little, they found their way back. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset paint the sky in soft shades of orange and gold, Maya leaned her head on Daniel's shoulder. Everything felt calm again, peaceful. "Do you think we almost lost each other?" she asked softly. Daniel smiled faintly, wrapping his arm around her. "Yeah," he said, "but I think we also found something stronger. Love isn't always loud. It isn't always perfect. Sometimes it's choosing to stay, to try again, to understand, instead of walking away, to be patient, even when it's hard. And sometimes the relationships that almost break become the ones that teach you the most about love, about growth, and about what it truly means to hold on. Because in the end, love isn't about never falling apart. It's about finding your way back together." The end.